you up to now, because we are recording this session so that our attendees that couldn't make it today are able to view the content at a later date. That recording is going to start at 10 AM sharp. So I've just had the nod from Sarah Warren to say that we are now live. So I think we can kick off. We have a good number of attendees already joined us this morning. So welcome to everybody who is watching. I'm just going to do a few housekeeping notes and then Councillor Pert is going to do our official opening address this morning. So thank you so much all for attending. Thank you panellists for being here and giving your time to speak today and share information with our audience. And attendees, thank you for giving up your time to come along and sit and watch. Just to reassure those people who are not invited presenters today, we cannot see you. We cannot see you and we cannot hear you. All of your videos and microphones are off now and will remain off for the duration. So you don't need to worry. You can relax, get a cup of tea, move around. That's absolutely fine. You will only be able to see and hear those people who are giving presentations. That said, the chat box is a live and open function that is available to you all. So if you wanted to ask any questions, if you want to introduce yourselves, say good morning, post any links to any related organisations or useful content or information that you think other audience members might like to see, then please feel free to do that in the chat box. We have a really packed agenda today. And we're going to try and keep time to around an hour and 15 minutes. So for that reason, we will handle some questions, but potentially not all. That said, we will answer all questions at a later point. So we'll produce like an FAQs and pop it on our website. So if you do ask a question and you don't have that answered today, please don't worry. And we will make sure that we get an answer either out to you individually or posted on our website at a later point. So as I've just said at the very start, the session is recorded. This will enable you to watch all of the content again, and we'll be sharing links so that you can hopefully pass those on to your contacts and peers so they can watch the content again too. In a few moments, Jeremy is going to just give us our opening address and he's going to introduce our speakers today. Thank you, Jeremy, for doing that for us. And at the end of our presentations, I will post a slide on screen which will be a kind of a closing slide, and it will have all of our speakers and their organisations' contact information and how you can access the services that they're going to talk about. So don't worry if you miss that during the individual presentations, because there will be a reminder at the end. And just another reminder from me, and I'm sure you're going to hear this a couple of times today, this is the first of a series of 3 webinars this week. If you wanted to attend the second and third, the topic for the second is mental health and wellbeing, and the third is capacity building and sustainability in communities. They're happening tomorrow afternoon. Please do go and register for those individually. You do have to click the registration link for each webinar that you intend to watch. It's no good if you've just registered for this one, because this link won't work again after today. I think that's all, so I will hand over to you, Jeremy. I'm going to share my screen with just a basic slide, but we'll still be able to see you.
Perfect, thank you, Sam, and good morning, everyone. I wanted to start off this morning in a slightly unorthodox way by saying a few thank yous to start off with. Not help the fact I lost my screen when you did that. That's fine, I've got it back again, thank you. So I wanted to say, first of all, thank you to the audience for attending this first webinar in a series of 3. I think this, if it's successful, will be part of a series we do and run, for a number of other subjects and other areas that are of interest to people in our communities. But I also wanted to say that this has been brought possible by some of the innovations that the global pandemic has brought us. So there are some positives that come out of this period of huge change. But just as Sam has said, I did want to encourage people to register individually for the other 2 webinars, which are being held tomorrow at 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock, if only to make sure that if people weren't aware of them, they could benefit from them. Secondly, I wanted to say thank you to the fantastic array of speakers that we have lined up over the next 2 days. And they will, if they get the opportunity, answer through the chat facility some of your questions. But they are all long-standing partners to the Borough Council, and I wanted to thank them not only for their time over the next 2 days, but also what they do day in, day out for the benefit of all in our community. Finally, I wanted to thank, and certainly by no means least, some of the people behind this. Sarah Warren, the technology guru, who has just been amazing. Everything I throw at her, whether it's giving away my unique log-on codes or anything else, she has been brilliant. To Sarah Ruff, who many of you know, and to Sam Taylor from the Health and Housing team, thank you very much. Fantastic advocates of community. And when I ask, for who else is doing these things at a council level, things like webinars, and I'm told that we are unique, then it's something which is pretty important. So thank you for all of those people who have made this possible. I am on record many times of thanking the NHS, frontline workers, staff from key services like retail and food manufacturing for the work that they have done to keep the country functioning in 2020. But I've also been clear about the role that the voluntary sector and many in communities, including parish councils and parish councillors, have had in supporting everyone in our community to stay safe and get the things they need, whether that's from food or prescriptions or emotional support. Thank you for all that you have done, as 2020 has been a year like no other, something that none of us have seen in our lifetimes before. Lots has worked well, like the hyper-local street-by-street response, the way communities came together, people volunteering for the NHS, making deliveries, doing all sorts of things. And we celebrated the diversity of many of those groups and actions and activities at last week's Community Awards. Technology worked well to facilitate home working en masse, catching up with loved ones and home education. But if we think that 2020 was tough, and it was, there will be some in our communities who will find 2021 and beyond just as tough. National unemployment could top 8 to 10%. Youth unemployment could be double that. GDP is reduced by 10% year on year, and those in unstable work, like zero-hour contracts, may feel the effects of reduced hours. Seismic changes in retail on our high street, with the collapse of long-standing household names, just to name a few of the ill winds that blow through our communities. So these webinars have been put on at your suggestion, as to providing some ideas, suggestions, tips and tools as to how best we all can support those in our communities. They are the first of a series. They're designed to give you an ability to have different conversations in your communities as we work together in partnership to continue the work that we have done to date, to support everyone in the community to stay safe and to stay well. Not just physically, but also to have good, positive mental health. They're designed to help you to support and signpost, but also to give you the confidence in working positively in our communities. It is about the partnerships that we across the borough can make, reaching out and saying, we will help everyone in the community together. We can't do this alone, and we need everyone working in the same direction. After all, it's not about saying it's someone else's responsibility. And actually, instead, it's about saying it's all of our responsibilities, and we can make this work if we work together as we did earlier in the year. Our communities are like a Swiss watch. They work because all the pieces work in tandem together. But if one piece is missing, no matter what the size of the piece is, they're not as effective. And in the case of a watch, it's not very good at telling the time either. But whether it is the bezel or the watch spring, they're all vital to the work that they do in providing a working timepiece. Many of those who will be affected in the weeks and months and years to come will never have thought that they would need our services and support. So the task ahead is immense, but we've risen to that challenge in 2020, and I'm sure we can do the same with the same spirit, energy and openness in 2021 and beyond. And these sessions are designed to try and start that journey or continue that journey working with you. Thank you for coming this morning. I hope you gain huge amounts from these 3 webinars. Let me pass back to Sam and to Hayley.
Thank you, Jeremy. Okay. So I'm just going to start this morning. I should introduce myself. I am the Lead Officer for Health and Housing Strategy at Stafford Borough Council. I'm just going to start by sharing with everyone the Council's resource web page that we've recently compiled. Not all of the information is new, but it has been rearranged in such a way as to respond to some of those needs that Jeremy's just spoken about. And it's something that I would really want to encourage people who are helping residents in our communities to access, to explore it and understand the information that's on there and see the possibilities of the different links and the external websites that this will lead you to. And then to be able to perhaps use that in supporting people one-on-one. So it is accessed through the Borough Council's main website. Just show you for an example. And someone just confirmed that you can see the web page on your screen. Thank you, Jeremy. So this is the main page of staffordbc.gov.uk. And if you scroll down to our coronavirus updates, which are nice and central on the page, and click there, then it takes you to a section just mid-page again on support for residents and communities. And here we have help for individuals and our talk to us page. Right at the top there, you've got your opportunity to register for webinars. So what we've done is we've ordered the information in such a way as to really speak to residents. I've just been told that some of you can't see the web page, you can just see my presentation. Is that right? Okay. I'll just do a switch, that's fine. There we go, is that better? Yeah, thank you. Okay, so we've got some headings around the different kinds of things that our residents might be considering or struggling with at the moment. And it is really all based around their finances. I'm not going to talk too much about the rent and the housing elements because that's what Hayley's going to do for us. But just to take you down some of this information, you'll see here each of these headings are links. So here you can click on the local food banks and you can get a link to a list of food banks that are in operation in Stafford Borough and some of their opening times and contact information. You have links here to our benefit service, which will take you through to toolkits that will offer people self-help, where they can go through and put in information, send off an inquiry or do online calculators and things like that. And then some of this information is also obviously relating to some of the services that are being presented by our other speakers today. Coming right down to the bottom, we've got a couple of bits of information that take you to external sources of help for mental well-being, relationship breakdown, people's physical health. And I would like to say that, you know, this is something that we've collated quite quickly in response to the needs that people have told us about, but we do intend to regularly update this webpage to continually keep it up to date, to make sure that you've got all of the resources that you need to respond to the issues that are most pressing at any given moment. So we will continue to add to that. And I'm quite open to feedback if anyone feels that there's something glaringly obvious that's not here that you really need in your communities, please do reach out and let us know, and we'll try to fill in any gaps as we go along. Hayley, if I can hand the speaking over to you and I'll continue to control this webpage for you, please.
Thanks very much, Sam. Hi everybody, my name's Hayley Smith and I'm the lead officer for the housing options team at Stafford Borough Council. We cover housing advice and homelessness. And I think in some respects, it's a bit of a scary thought that I'm here, to be honest, at the webinar, because when you talk about homelessness and that being an outcome, that's not really something that a lot of people envisage or sort of want to talk about at this stage. And really what this is all about is us upstreaming that prevention. And I have to agree with Jeremy's statement that if 2020 was a hard year, then 2021 is going to be harder. And what we really are facing is a perfect storm of both social and economic issues that could lead people into some form of crisis, whether that's relating to housing, mental health, or a variety of other things. And what I really wanted to do from a housing options perspective was to upstream that and prevent that from happening as much as possible. Our main cause of homelessness over the last 12 months has been relationship breakdowns. We have seen a stay on evictions, which has given people a brilliant respite, very much needed from those pressures with regards to rent and facing eviction from their properties. However, in some ways of thinking, that may be hiding a problem. There may be hiding existing rent arrears that when that comes to be realised in the next 12 to 18 months is actually a very big, very complex issue. So what we very much wanted to do was to encourage people to access services. And what we're looking at is those that may already be vulnerable, that already may be in a stressful situation, to not wait for things to hit a crisis, but to access those services, but also to open up those services to those that for the first time need some additional help and aren't quite sure where to turn or where to go to. And I want to really highlight here the Stafford and Rural Homes Talk to Us campaign. Now, this is a campaign for those tenants of Stafford and Rural Homes properties, that's 80% of our social housing stock, for them to be able to access early help and support for a variety of different issues, mostly revolving around benefits, financial help and support for their tenancies. I'm just going to highlight as well further down, for those that do require further housing advice, that we do have a housing options toolkit. Sam, if I can just ask you to click on that link. Now, this housing options toolkit is universal and it's open to everybody to access. It's the big grey button on the left. And if you click on that, you're able to access a number of questions about your personal circumstances. So it will take you down to ask you questions about your housing, starting up from your household makeup, how many people live in the property, and then all the way down to slightly more detailed questions. Some about rent and repairs in the property, rent arrears, and some possibly more personal questions around domestic abuse, slightly more sensitive issues. Now, this can be completed in 10 minutes if you're not computer savvy. If you are computer savvy, I challenge you to complete it in 5. And what you will get is a tailored outcome of advice that's specific to what your situation is, whether that is information around repairs at the property, it could be information around warmer homes, it could be more detailed information around possession proceedings and everything that's going on at the moment. There's a lot of changes since we've had COVID. If there is a flag for homelessness, if you've effectively ticked a box that states that you would be at risk of homelessness, that the team need to speak to you, an email will be shot through to our housing options team, who will call you to discuss in more detail within 48 hours. If you flagged that you're homeless that night, the call will be on the same day. And this is a tool for everybody to use if they feel that they need specific housing advice for their situation. And it does provide some generic information for those that haven't accessed this before. We may have people in the private rented sector who for the first time have fallen into rent arrears and their landlords have never potentially had to deal with it. So they've just written them a note on a piece of paper asking them to leave and they think that's okay and now they're panicking. And this really is a tool for those that are facing this for the first time or for those that would be vulnerable. And I really do implore you to share that with your contacts. And yes, that's everything from me. If you have got any questions, I'm happy to take them in the chat. You can contact me after. Thank you.
Thank you, Hayley. So this is the staffordbc.gov.uk/talk to us website that we encourage all of you to access. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now and hand over to our next speaker, Martin Peake. Welcome, Martin. Martin's joining us from Beat the Cold, who is the specialist energy advice charity who delivers Warmer Homes Stafford on behalf of the Borough Council. Welcome, Martin. Thank you.
Welcome. I was going to say Warmer Homes Stafford so I didn't get shot. Okay, so I'm Martin from Warmer Homes Stafford. I haven't put any slides up, and the rationale behind not putting any slides up is because the situation that we're finding ourselves in the moment is changing that quickly. I would just like people to have the contact information for the team and contact the team. We're a fuel poverty charity, which most people then think is niche, but it does mean that we are dealing with both poverty and cold related homes. So obviously we're going to have an issue over winter with that. And obviously with the issues we're having with the economy, we're seeing a lot more demand around the poverty side of things. The individuals that we want to see within Warmer Homes Stafford are anybody that's struggling with their bills or looking to keep warm in any way, or having a problem with their energy supply or energy supplier. That's who we want to hear. No criteria, that's who we want to hear. Anybody who's having a struggle whatsoever. We don't do a lot of things. We only do 5 things, but we do them really, really well. Okay, so the first things that we will look into when we're talking to people, we'll look to get their income up. So we're looking at the income that they're entitled to. About 1 in 10 of the people we speak to are missing out on benefits of some description. Now, we are not the benefits experts, but we will pass that information on to people who are, to make sure that people are receiving predominantly disability benefits seem to be missed out on. And pension credit seems to be a key one for the clients that we come across. The second one that we were looking to do for individuals is reducing their outgoings, particularly as it goes around their energy and utility bills. So that can be reducing their outgoings on the water, the gas and electric through a change of tariff, through a change of supplier, and applying for things like grants, such as the Warm Homes discount, £140, which is never advertised anywhere, and we can give it away like chocolates. So that's what we did around on the outcome side. Third one is around behaviours. Now, we are struggling a little bit more with behaviours at this moment in time. We're not really getting into people's homes unless it's a dire health and safety need, which I'll touch on the end. But under normal circumstances, we would be seeing that people have got their settees shoved in front of their radiators, or using their tumble dryers all the time, and we can reduce people's wasted consumption that way. So that's a little bit of a struggle at the moment. We're advising people about that over the phone, but having not been able to see into people's homes, that becomes a little bit more difficult. The fourth thing that we're looking to do, and at the moment, I think we're extremely lucky with the partnership between Warmer Homes Stafford and Staffordshire Warmer Homes. There you go. Anything with Warmer Homes, health in the titles is always a good thing. There is multi-million pound availability for measures this winter. And that includes insulation measures, heating measures, renewable measures, air source heat pumps, solar PV, solar thermal, external wall insulation, loft insulation. It's like Christmas. And basically, as many people who can benefit from that as possible, we would genuinely want to hear from. It's a unique situation. It's unknown. Part of it is to deal with the greening of the economy and dealing with some of the economic downturn. But for insulating the homes and putting heating in, I'm really looking forward to that one. The fifth thing that we don't put on any adverts anywhere, but it does seem to be, is a lot of our work. And that will be dealing with the distress and hardship that's caused by energy companies and energy suppliers when they are treating customers badly. Again, some of the larger energy suppliers will talk to you from a script, but will most of the time not make common sense and can put people into sort of hardship and distress. That is what our team is really good at doing, is untying them knots. Christmas Mark II. Now we've done all the measures. We do have access, and I want to get rid of as many as possible. Fuel vouchers, multiples of £49. Anybody who's been negatively affected by COVID, such as furlough, cut hours, the fact that they are having to stay at home more often because they're isolating. If they're on a prepayment meter, we have £49 to give them. Okay, so use and abuse that, please. Okay. Fifth element, which is there, which I've covered on before, it's anything energy company and energy company related. So again, that's where we find people having distress because the energy company is just treating them like a sort of a tick box exercise. So that's that one. Okay. I know it's a very trendy term, but we were doing it years before. Okay. We don't offer a scripted tick box service. So individuals that come to us, whatever issue they present themselves with, that is what we will address. That's their priority. That's how we will help them out. We'll do all the other things that we said above there, but that's how we help people. It's client-led. We'll do whatever it takes. We won't leave anybody dangling. So again, it's not that, oh, we spoke to you twice, now that's it, we're going away. So you can refer to people to us in absolute confidence. We are all working from home at the moment, but where there is a sort of a health and safety risk, so I will give you an example. A gentleman that couldn't hear us over the telephone, was about to get cut off, we will still home visit, but it is the exception to the rule. It's all obviously covered in PPE and gel and God knows what else, so that we don't cause any illness, but we're trying to keep that down as much as possible. Contact number 0800 677 1785. You will find that on the www.warmerhomestafford.org.uk website, and you may also email us on warmerhomestafford@beatcold.org.uk. I say what I said at the top, which is basically, if anybody is struggling to keep warm with their finances to pay their bills or having problems with their energy supplier, call that number, because things are changing that often, and we will give them the best information and advice we can at that moment in time. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. We've had a couple of questions in the chat and I can spare a couple more minutes. So if you don't mind, I'll put these to you now. Don't worry about finding them on your screen. The first one was, could you highlight how people without IT can collect this vital information, and also those who don't feel safe using screens? You're on mute, mate.
I want professional. Okay, so there has been a massive digital divide. So two ways that we've been supporting people who, again, around that digital divide. The telephone is there. We asked people to speak to us over the telephone. We've asked friends and family if they've been in the support bubbles. WhatsApp has been a godsend, shall we say. And what you cannot see is about 6 foot to my right there is a massive stack of self-addressed envelopes, stamps, envelopes and letters, where that's we've had to go back. We've noticed that digital divide, and yes, we've got bells and whistles and all our IT on one side for them that can do, and for them that can't, we're phoning, we're posting, we're writing, and we're doing it what we can. We will work around people. We are used to it.
Thank you, Martin. The second question was, can Warmer Homes Stafford help charities like churches to find grants to help with things like improved insulation?
The short answer and the official answer is going to be no. The funding that we get is specifically to help individuals with its homeowners and occupiers. That's how we work around sort of that area funding. I'm absolutely sure if somebody dropped me an email, I'll put them in touch with somebody who would help them out.
Great, thank you very much. And I can see that there's been an answer to the question about Section 8 notices added to the chat box as well. So is that sufficient, Hayley, or did you want to say anything to address that further question?
I'm happy with that response if John is.
Great, okay. We'll keep an eye on the chat box, John, and then if there's anything you want us to expand on, we can definitely cover that for you. All right, Martin, thank you so much. Great presentation, really appreciate it. All right, next we have got Eleanor Dudley from Citizens Advice Bureau. Welcome, Eleanor.
Hello all, bear with me just one moment and I'll just share my slides with you. Okay, so good morning. Like I say, my name's Eleanor and I'm one of the debt caseworkers at Citizens Advice Stafford South West. So we are Citizens Advice and we provide a free, independent, confidential and impartial service to everyone and advise them on their rights and their responsibilities. So we are here to give people the knowledge and the confidence that they do need to find their way forward, whoever they are and wherever they are, whatever their problem is. So we do campaign on big issues where people's voices need to be heard. And we do value diversity, champion equality and challenge discrimination and harassment. So nobody else will see so many people with so many different kinds of issues, which gives us a bit of a unique insight into the challenges that people are facing today. So as we are discussing financial difficulty, first thing I'd like to talk to you about is making the most of your money. So many people will have been impacted financially by the coronavirus, and it may be a problem that they've never faced before if they've been made redundant or they may have increased household bills because they've been spending more time at home, whether that is through being on furlough and they're just in the house more often, or whether they are working at home. Like I say, their bills may have increased. So there are a number of ways that we can help our clients to make the most of their money. One of these ways is to help them create a budget. And that can help them to understand where the money is being spent, which sometimes it's easy to spend £1 here and there and forget about it. And we can help them to understand what is affordable for them. So some people may never have looked at the budget in this way before, and it is a new exercise for them. So we can assist with that. The second thing, or another thing we can do to try and make the most of your money, is by looking at your expenditure on energy costs. I won't talk about it too much because I know it's already been touched on, but we are running a scheme until the 31st of March 2021, and that is our energy advice project. So within this project, we can help vulnerable clients to complete price comparisons online, where they may not have access to the internet to do that themselves. And we could also provide measures that, or advise of measures that can be taken in the house to reduce the energy consumption. And both of those, by switching tariffs or taking measures, can help to save money overall. So we can also help to inform our clients of the social tariffs that they might be eligible for. And these are special tariffs that each firm would offer to put a cap on a price of what you pay for water, or reduce your liability for water overall. And the local tariffs that are particularly relevant in our area are Severn Trent Water's Big Difference Scheme and South Staffordshire Water's the Assured Tariff. And they may be things you've heard of before, but both of these schemes help people who are on a low income or who are struggling to pay their water bill by reducing their water liability for ongoing charges. Okay, so where individuals have lost income or maybe on a low income, it's really important that they understand what support would be available for them to help them maximise their income, and also to prevent them from falling into financial difficulty as well. So we are able to complete benefit checks for households, and we can help them to understand what benefits they may be entitled to. Our team can provide advice on a range of benefits, so whether that is universal credit or council tax reduction or disability and ill health benefits, we do cover them all. And we can, like I say, advise on the eligibility criteria and how to make these applications as well, whether it's over the phone or some maybe online or via the post. And we do provide a very limited service where we can assist clients to complete these applications if they do struggle to do that themselves. So particularly, we do help with personal independence payment claims if there is capacity issues with the person that's claiming. If somebody has been affected by coronavirus and they are unable to work, or they've had a reduction in their income, there may be schemes that can help them. And we can advise, like I say, on eligibility for these schemes and help people to understand what they may be eligible for. So we may have all heard of the Self-Employment Income Support Scheme and the Coronavirus Job Retention Scheme, otherwise known as Furlough Scheme. There's also the Test and Trace Support Payment Scheme, which may not be well known. And that would be a one-off payment of £500 that you could receive if you are on a low income and if you're self-isolating because you have been told to by the Test and Trace system. So that's something that we can look into as well. Where individuals are suffering financial hardship and they cannot afford to purchase essential items for the household, they may be eligible for some funding from charities to help them with these costs. So we can assist our clients to find grants they may be able to receive, and some require third parties to make applications on your behalf. So we can do that as well. If these applications are successful, there are charities who could provide funding for items such as cookers or washing machines or microwaves. And there's actually a really helpful website called Turn to Us. And that has a grant search tool on it. And anyone can use it. but it does tailor what may be available to you. So that would be really helpful for people to know in the community as well. It's also worth noting that if somebody is suffering financial hardship now or in the future, we can provide them with either the details to contact their local food banks, or we can make a referral to the food banks with a food voucher, and also to local charities who both can provide emergency parcels to ensure that people don't go without food when it is needed. Okay, so where individuals have suffered financial hardship, they may find that inevitably they've built up some debt, and we can provide support with both priority and non-priority debts. I have been asked to just give an overview of what they are. So priority debts are debts that can cause you serious problems if you don't do anything about them. So if they are left unaddressed, the potential consequences may be that you could lose your home, you could be cut off from essential services or supplies like gas and electricity, you could have your possessions taken away from you, or you could go to prison. So just a few examples of those debts may be rent arrears, magistrate court fines, or council tax arrears. Obviously, they all have their individual consequences. Non-priority debts tend to be less serious. However, if they are left unaddressed, then creditors can take county court action to get a county court judgment that orders you to pay. And if you don't pay, then the creditor can ask the court to take further action. So that could be things like taking money from your bank account, asking bailiffs to sell your goods and repay the money, or secure debts against your property. So we aim to give holistic advice that would cover, that would explore our clients' full circumstances, and then we can advise them of ways that they can address their debts, given their circumstances. So we try to help our clients by telling them and explaining how each option works and looking at the advantages and disadvantages of each option. And this can help them to decide which way meets their needs best. Obviously, everybody has a different circumstance, and everybody, one rule doesn't fit all. So there are a number of ways that we can help, and a few of these may be to help people understand if insolvency, such as a debt relief order or bankruptcy, may be right for them. And if they decide that it is, we can help them to prepare these applications. Another way may be to help them set up affordable payment plans. We could ask creditors to temporarily suspend enforcement action to allow our clients some time to seek advice and make a decision on what they want to do next, sometimes giving them that bit of pressure, relieving them of that pressure for a short period can help a great deal. We can help to challenge the liability of debts if you believe that you don't owe it, and we can help to reduce the amount that is being deducted from your benefits to pay debts if it's causing you financial hardship, say within certain limits. So if anything is outside of our remit, then we can signpost as well to other organisations that might be able to help. It is noting, obviously, with coronavirus at the moment and the impact it is having, that if somebody does have a certain credit agreement and they are struggling to maintain it temporarily, they can potentially request a payment holiday, as some of you might be aware. If they've not yet had a payment holiday, they can ask for that up until the 31st of March 2021. And this deferral can be up to 6 months in total. So if they've already had a payment holiday or they are currently in one, they can extend that as long as it doesn't exceed the 6 months in total. So these can be taken on things like mortgages, car finances, credit cards, loans, catalogue debts and more. But we do recommend that you do seek advice if you aren't sure, because there can be consequences such as interest being added, which means that overall you might end up paying more. Okay, so I just wanted to make you aware of other services that you might find helpful in times of financial difficulty or distress. And I have put a couple of statistics on there just so you can see what we've been doing since April. And one of the services we provide is our in-house housing solicitor. So where tenants have been served a notice seeking possession of the property, or they may have housing disrepairs, we do have an in-house housing solicitor who may be able to help them. And our housing solicitor can provide free advice, and that will be to individuals on their rights. We also have our Help to Claim team, and they can help you with the early stages of your universal credit team, your universal credit claim, sorry. And the advisors can help you to work out if you can get universal credit. They can help you to fill in the application if needed. They can also help you to prepare for your first job centre appointment and check your first payment is correct. We also have on there our Victims Gateway number as well to contact, and Victims Gateway help people to cope with the experience of becoming a victim of crime and recover from any harm that they've had as a result of that, which can therefore support them to take back control of their life. I have put some numbers on the slides. I'm sure you can all see these, so I won't read them out. But these numbers get you through to our team directly. So we have set these up during our time whilst we've been working at home. And there's also an email address that we have set up as well. And the idea is if somebody wanted to email us outside of maybe our working hours, they can request a call back, obviously when we pick it up, and we can discuss the issues at that time. So just wanted to say thank you for listening today, and thank you for your time, and I'll pass you back over to our hosts.
Thank you, Eleanor. That was really good. Hopefully you can relax a little bit now. Really appreciate you coming along and presenting for us today. We have had a question pop up, so I hope you won't panic too much. It's quite a straightforward one. Neil would like to know if Citizens Advice are offering face-to-face appointments presently.
We aren't able to do that at the moment. However, it is something that is obviously being reviewed along with government guidelines. So as soon as we are able to offer that, we will try to do that. But we are available obviously over the phone in the meantime. If it's a case of you've got somebody that maybe would struggle over the phone, but you could support them and sit with them maybe during that call, that may be really helpful. And we do have a lot of family members and friends who have done that for appointments in the past, obviously since April.
Thank you. I think one of the things I really value about your service is that you offer those 2 mobile phone numbers. I know from other organisations and other feedback that I've had is that when organisations have a national telephone number, maybe an 08 or an 03 number, it might be free to call, and that's perfectly convenient, and the call will be answered. But people can be put off by having, select an option. Well, which is the right option for me? And if you're someone who has maybe always worked and only really begun to experience difficulty this year, and actually you're probably trying quite hard not to ask for any help for various reasons, pride, maybe just hoping that things will get better, but being conscious that any safety nets you've got are perhaps wearing thin, your buffer, your savings, that's starting to deplete, and you're wondering what next. It can take quite a lot to build up to dialing one of those numbers and figuring out what are the right words to say, what is the question I ask, what help do I need? And I think having that phone number, that mobile phone number of a local person in Stafford that you can call, and I notice you've also got an email address for callbacks. So, if you are still working and managing childcare like many people are, or elder care and other responsibilities, being able to email and say, I would like to speak to someone, and knowing that there's kind of a 3-day callback promise there is just so valuable. Would you say that that's something that kind of makes the service productive and efficient?
It is, because sometimes people may want to call, but it takes a lot for them to build up the courage to give someone a call and ask for that help. So it's sort of like the first step, but it's not an immediate thing that they have to talk to us right this second. So it can give them a little bit of time to prepare and think about maybe what they want to say. Those numbers are run by our volunteers who have been absolutely brilliant in working with us a lot from home, and they do monitor. It is monitored sort of 5 days a week. Obviously, if they are on the phone, you can leave messages as well, and they will give you a call back. So you will always get a friendly person at the end of the line that can give you a call back as well.
Super. Thank you so much. Right, I'm going to stop your sharing, get everybody back. Okay, we have got Cully Manak next from the National Careers Service. Welcome, Cully, and thank you for joining us. I realise you've got some slides to present today, so I'll give you a moment just to get your screen sharing all set up. And folks, if there are any more questions, do feel free to pop those in the chat box for us, and we will do our best. Promise not to put our panellists too much on the spot today, but we'll do our best to make sure we don't lose track of any of those.
Hi all, my name is Colleen Manick and I'm from the National Career Service. I'm not sure whether you can see my slides at the moment.
Yeah, I can see them now, Cully.
Okay, brilliant. I'm just gonna, perfect. Fab. So my name's Cully, I'm from the National Career Service. We cover the Stoke-on-Trent and the Staffordshire area, and what I'm going to discuss today is the support that we can offer with regards to redundancy and the recruitment triage service that we've got on offer. We'll go through the options that are available if you are going through redundancy, and if you've lost your job due to COVID-19. So Stoke-on-Trent and the Staffordshire LEP work very closely with us, the National Career Service. We support businesses and employees who are experiencing redundancy due to this pandemic, find new employment where gaps are appearing within the local labour market. If you're an employer or you have employees who are going through this difficult time, it is a free service that we can offer you. We can offer support to employees, offer one-to-one appointments, but I'll go through that in a lot more detail further on. So the service that we offer are face-to-face appointments, will help with a smoother transition into finding new work opportunities. We'll also support with anybody who's lost their jobs and get them back into employment. The services that we're sort of looking at is trying to match potential customers who have gone through redundancy into some of the sectors that we feel that have grown due to this current climate, and we feel that sectors such as health and social care within sort of the care sector has shown a lot of demand with regards to the roles that they've been offering. Sectors such as food retail, especially within supermarkets, within fast food retail outlets, have got a lot busier within this current climate, and we've noticed have released a lot of vacancies. And then obviously with regards to wholesale and distribution, a lot of people are working from home, a lot of people are ordering things online, so you can imagine the demand with distribution with regards to parcels has gone through the roof. Royal Mail have been the busiest they've ever been in so many years, so that just goes to show that there are jobs in these areas and there are vacancies, and we can help you source these jobs and help you get back into work. So the National Career Service is a free service, and we offer impartial careers information, advice and guidance. The service is a bespoke and a rapid response service, and we try and offer a unique service so that we're sort of offering you the support to match your own personal needs. We know that everybody's needs are different, and then try and find you alternative employment. Just go over to the next slide. So we have a team of qualified careers advisors. It is a one-to-one service. We normally are based within local job centres, but obviously due to lockdown, we are all working remotely at home. The service would have been face-to-face, but obviously we're not able to do that at the moment. So it is a service that we'll offer over the telephone. with regards to job matching, looking at the current vacancies that are available, looking at your existing skills and what your experiences have been in the past, and the types of areas of work that you might want to get into now. We can do live job searching with you and supporting you with online application forms. I know a lot of places have a more stricter online recruitment process where there's so many different stages you need to complete. So we can help support with that. Help with developing a CV. We know that a lot of people may never have had a CV in the past and have got into employment just through word of mouth and have never needed one. But with employment going forward now, a lot of employers expect a CV, expect you to upload a CV to other job sites like Indeed and CV Monster. They all expect CVs uploaded. So we can help create CVs. We can help tailor CVs to different job roles, so you could have more than one CV, and we would, just through discussion, put a CV together for you, and then make sure that you get a copy of that either sent to you via email, or we can send it via your work coach if you refer to us through the job centre. We can help with interview techniques. A lot of people may have not had an interview for a good few years, may not sort of know what's involved in an interview. There's obviously different types of interviews, so you could sort of have a panelled interview. You could have an interview that consists of certain questions, competency-based questions. So we can just help prepare you for that interview process, help you do your research beforehand, help you practice some of your questions, some of the answers that relate to the job role that you're applying for, help build your confidence. A lot of people may find it difficult sitting in front of a panel, who may find it difficult just speaking to somebody one-to-one, have difficulties having eye contact. So we can help fight those barriers and help put you at ease. And if you're prepared better before you get to the interview stage, it will make you feel a lot more confident. Have a look at your skills, have a look at the things that you've done in your previous roles, and try and match them to different other job roles if you fancy doing something totally different. Have a look at what local jobs are available within your local area. But then also, which isn't mentioned on the slide, we also offer other stuff that we've got. I've created a handout which you can have emailed across to you by Sam or from Sarah later on, and that lists the different roles, the different things that we can do with you one-to-one, and help with if you were going through redundancy, there's a rapid response scheme that you could get involved in. That's if you fancied doing something totally different to what you've done previously. You can use that funding up until 13 weeks after redundancy, and it's a pot of money that's jointly between the National Career Service and the DWP that can help you retrain in a particular area that there's a demand for those roles in your local job area. We can have a look at learning if you fancy doing something totally different. Have a look at different training courses. We have a lot of contacts with training providers that we work very closely with. We can have a look at your improving your digital skills. A lot of people may not have used a computer in the past, and going forward, everything is done sort of digitally. So there's a lot of digital courses out there that we can get you enrolled on. We can help find funding for any different training or learning that you perhaps want to do. We can have a look at apprenticeships. Apprenticeships are available to all ages now. There's no age limit, and I know a lot of employers prefer to take on people who have a bit of work history, who have a bit of work ethic. So this is why the age limit was removed. We can have a look at how we can identify what your strengths and skills are so that we can match you to the right job roles. And I feel that that's probably one of the hardest areas. People find it difficult to identify what your strengths are, identify what your skills are. But we can do certain assessments with you, and then it'll sort of outline different job roles that perhaps you've not thought about, that we can go through in a lot more detail and get you involved in. So how do you find out more about us? We do offer one-to-one support. It would be over the telephone. There is a free phone number that you can call. But on the flyer that I've created, it does have my personal email address as well as my personal mobile. If you feel that you want to contact me direct, by all means, give me a call. Or you can try the 0800 number, and that will put you through to one of the advisors within the Staffordshire and the Stoke-on-Trent area, and we can get you booked in and then get you spoken with one of our qualified advisors. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, Cully. It was really good, really useful. Just going to stop your sharing. We didn't have any questions pop up from our attendees during that, but I do have a question for you if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Not to leave anybody out. Jeremy's laughing at me. I can't help myself. So kind of along the same lines of what I was saying to Eleanor before, really, when we set about to put these webinars on, we really had people at the forefront of our minds who may have never experienced problems before. People who are just trying their best to make it through and hoping that things will turn around. And you guys offer such a huge wealth of opportunity for people. What would you say to someone who is feeling a little bit concerned, not quite certain about their job security at the moment, thinking more broadly about their career and their sort of aspiration for the future? How would you kind of entice them and invite them into working with you to get the support that you're able to offer when they might never have used a service like yours before?
I think it's building that rapport with them over the phone, just making them feel confident and the support that we can offer them. And it is a bespoke service, so obviously everybody's got different needs. And just sort of outlining the different support that we can offer and how easy it's available. We've got a lot of resources online that we can refer any customers that have got online access. We can kind of talk them through the different supports on our website that they can have a look at. But then obviously just having that one-to-one support with them over the phone, and they can have a number of appointments with us and obviously have our email address and sort of liaise with us that way as well as over the telephone. And obviously face-to-face is one of the best supports that we can offer, but due to the current climate, we're not able to offer that. But I feel that in the past, when we've built that rapport with the customer, they tend to open up a lot more and sort of share everything that's sort of going on. So obviously we have a lot of contacts with other training providers. So if it's something that we can't help them with, we know who we could then refer them on to.
Brilliant. And I think that's true of all of our panelists today, is that everyone's quite well connected, and we know that there is really there are a few occasions where there's ever a wrong door between the services that are presented today. You know, you might approach CAB and they might pass on to Warmer Home Stafford. They might come to yourself, Cully, and you end up passing back to CAB or the Borough Council, depending on the issue that is of most concern. Someone might present with something because they think, oh, this is for you to deal with. You know, this is a topic that you're interested in. But when you really start to get that rapport and that relationship, and you can delve into the issues, the things that might be causing stresses or anxieties for people, certainly you would each be able to signpost into other relevant services to help that person out in the most holistic way possible. So I appreciate you all for the way that you work together and with our other partners to do that. I'm going to share now the contact slide that I promised with everyone. So this is just a reminder for everyone of how you can get in touch with all of our speakers today. Right at the top there, we've got my own team, myself, health@staffordbc.gov.uk, Hayley's team, housing advice, and the direct telephone number for Stafford Borough Council. I'm going to start doing some of the kind of closing comments just while I leave that up there for you guys to see. And what I would start with is that we really want to welcome all attendees' feedback from today, please. The good, the bad and the ugly, anything you think we can do better. If you can email myself and my colleague Sarah Ruff at health@staffordbc.gov.uk. We would really like to hear your thoughts. We're also quite interested, as Jeremy said in his opening address, to make sure that the webinars that we're offering this week are not the whole package. They're not the end of the road. Times are constantly changing, and we want to reflect on that and respond to communities and update the resources that we offer. So if attendees have a view on future topics that you'd like to hear about, other speakers that you would like to see or hear from, please do let me know, and we'll do our best to try and respond to that. You've obviously then got your Warmer Homes Stafford contact information, as was provided by Martin earlier on. You've got those 2 vital mobile telephone numbers for Staffordshire South West Citizens Advice Bureau, and also the local advice number on 08. There's the 0800 number that Cully mentioned, and we will, as promised, circulate the flyer from National Careers Service so that you also get that local and personal contact information for Cully should you prefer that one-to-one conversation. So just another reminder really to register for the other webinars if those topics are of interest to you. The mental health and wellbeing is something that has been cried out for. People asking us, how do we support people who come to us with anxieties and depression and stresses, and really when we feel concerned about residents that are crying out for help and we just don't know where to turn, we don't know how to navigate the various services from the very clinical to the kind of low level and more preventative help and welfare type services. So hopefully our speakers at that webinar tomorrow, same time tomorrow, 10 o'clock, via Zoom link, we'll answer some of those questions and share some details with you on some of the local services that are really, really stepping up at the moment. And then on Thursday afternoon, the sustainability and capacity building webinar is to help those of you who are grassroots organisations, mutual aid groups, residents groups, and also some of our more established organisations who perhaps want to think about how are we going to sustain this? How are we going to make best use of our volunteers, use our assets in the best possible way, use our resources, and keep it going as long as the current situation and beyond that. Thank you, all of you, for attending today. Thank you so much to all of our panelists, our speakers, for your contributions. Really, really appreciate it. If anyone does want to watch again, if there was bits that you missed, you didn't get your notes down quickly enough, or you want to share it with colleagues and peers, then you will be able to access these on the council's YouTube site to watch the webinars. We're not going to put all the links up straight away this week. We want to let all the webinars run and then get them hosted online next week. I think that's all from me. So thank you all for attending. I'm going to stop sharing just so I can see the chat box in case I've missed anything. I'm getting some good feedback already. So thank you, everybody, and thank you, panelists. We're just a moment after 11 o'clock, so not bad on the timekeeping either. Thank you all. We'll close there and let you all go.